Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming with a quick look at Total War Arena, the latest title by Creative Assembly in the Total War series, developed together with Wargaming, published by Wargaming and Sega. A free-to-play, multiplayer-only title, though you can also play against AI, but still multiplayer only. For some reason my mouse is double-clicking in this game. I don't know why, I guess I'll have to fix that. But yeah, you can play against AI. In fact, you have to play against AI until you get a level 3 army. There are 10 tiers. I have a tier 4 army, there are 10 tiers, and you can get everything from cavalry to artillery to, well, artillery catapult variety or artillery ballista variety. So infantry, artillery, archers, cavalry, war elephants as well, war dogs as well. Good amount of variety. This game, despite my misgivings about the free-to-play title in general, despite my misgivings with the nonsense Creative Assembly does overall as a company, and I do have a lot of issues with this company as a whole, and despite my issues with the multiplayer-only title where you only command 3 units as part of an army of 30 units, so there's quite a lot of players sharing control over this large and vast army, which means that your role in the battle is fairly limited in terms of its outcome, which makes it exceptionally frustrating to play a lot of public games. Despite all of that, I would say that this game is the best we've had of Total War battles, really ever. The first evolution since really Rome 1. Sure, they've made changes in speed of battles, how strong certain units are, how weak other units are, but overall, Total War gameplay hasn't really changed all that much. Part of that is map design, part of that is gameplay design. I mean, in this one, they probably are thinking, well, we give the players, each individual player, 3 units to control, so we can focus more on how each of those units feels, how each of those units act, how important they are, all that. Whereas in a typical Total War game where you're controlling 20 units, they don't really matter all that much. But they could, if Creative Assembly would adopt a different design, if they made the game slower, more strategic, and where each unit did matter significantly more. It's not about unit abilities or unit power, mind you. At this, you can look at the game like Ultimate General, so both Ultimate General games, Civil War and Gettysburg, where having control over the entire army, how you control the entire army is very important, but how you control each individual unit is also significantly important. Anyway, so the way it works is you have various factions: Carthage, Greece, Roman Empire, and the barbarians. Just that umbrella, the barbarians. And each of these factions has a different commander. Kaine, Alexander's sister. Not an important historical figure, but hey, we gotta fill that gender quota, right? So hey, let's make Kanane, Alexander's sister. Again, not an important historical figure. If we're not talking about important historical figure from a military point of view, yeah, Boudica was actually important. Not successful, but still has been important from a historical point of view. No one cares about Kanane. And and the only reason they brought her here was, well, we need to find some way to add a female character, right? Because, yeah, that's something game developers care about these days. Anyway, I am going to play a battle, or several battles even, as Germanicus. It's him I focused on leveling up. The reason is I didn't care much for playing the Greeks until I get someone like Leonidas or Alexander, because I don't want to play the Greeks with an archer commander, because that's not really their playstyle in Kanane, despite, you know, beyond the historical accuracy nonsense here. Beyond that, she's a specialist in archery, and that's not what I want from the Greeks. I mean, I think the barbarians make more sense from it. Hell, the Romans make more sense, though I don't think that you have anything in terms of archery units besides those that you can buy for real money or gold. In artillery, though the Romans are more of an artillery faction. I think the barbarians would do very well from the perspective of ranged units. Maybe that's just my opinion. Let's actually take a look at their units. No, actually they don't have, interesting. They actually are focused on cavalry. Huh. Oh, they do start getting ranged units. I mean, the barbarians seem to be more of a hit and run type faction that can do quite a bit of damage in ambushes and all that. And obviously their starting commander is Arminius. Anyway, let's play as Germanicus. When I think of the ancient Greeks, I think of the hoplites, I think of the pikes, I think of their cavalry. I don't think anyone's really... Like, when it comes to the ancient Greeks, both the Macedonians and the, you know, Spartans, the Athenians, no one ever really brings up their archers. I mean, they did have some famous archers, sure, Cretan archers in particular, but really their infantry and cavalry, when you're looking at the Thessalian cavalry, with the Macedonian cavalry, the Campanian cavalry, that really stands out throughout their history. So that's, you know, that's obviously something that needs to be pointed out. So I kind of think that, you know, you can have however many female commanders you want creative assembly. I don't care about that, but we're talking about ancient Greece here. I mean, I suppose their logic was that, oh, we want to give players a starting commander as an archer from the start, and that's fine, but they could have made the Greeks, for instance, cavalry. That would have actually worked, and made, you know, the barbarians archers. Instead, they made the barbarians cavalry, which they're also not really famous for, I might add. Like, you know, when you think of the barbarians, you think more really about their ambush tactics. When you think of the Gauls, you really think of the Gauls as a cavalry. Like, you know, you think of the Gauls, you think the Germans, they're not really well known for their cavalry. The Dacians, as another example. That's not what they stand out for. I mean, certainly the Gauls do have, throughout their history, especially after Rome conquered them, they, you know, they did contribute a great deal of cavalry to Rome, auxiliary units and all that. But when we think from a historical point of view, you know, or what's popularized about them, it's not their damn cavalry. Either way, let's get to it. I'm just waiting for a match to be found. I'm just gonna look at the tech trees. Plenty of things that can be unlocked. Plenty of units that can be bought as well, like gladiators. Say you want gladiators, you can buy them. You want auxiliary archers, which is what Rome did use. They had auxiliaries as archers. Then you have to pay auxiliary cavalry, ghosts of Cannae. The survivors of Cannae march implacably towards redemption or death. I think the thing about these units, though, is they're not the best in the world, are they? So just, yeah, just something to point out here. Wait a second. Shouldn't they be... Well, they're like Principes with the Triarii helm. Interesting. Right. Well, that's taking a bit more time than usual. Typically, I found matches in the game, must be the time of day when I'm recording this. But typically I found matches within 2 minutes or so. It's also, I guess, the level at which I'm playing. You've also got commander's abilities, and yep. You know, I like how for Carthage they only have Hannibal and his brother, who isn't really all that well known in history, though he was actually a fairly competent military commander. He thrashed quite a few Roman armies in Hispania before following in Hannibal's footsteps, crossing the Alps, though using a lot of, you know, the infrastructure that Hannibal had built to do so. So he used that, he crossed the Alps, and then he was defeated by the Romans before he could link up with Hannibal himself. Though if he had linked up with Hannibal himself, that would have actually been, well, a deadly blow for Rome, because Hannibal more or less was able to keep the Roman armies in Italy pinned in position. Like, they weren't able to defeat him. Hell, their entire strategy involved around not doing battle with Hannibal, so not doing an open battle, because every time they tried fighting Hannibal in an open battle, they lost. You know how they, yeah, Cannae, Trebia, Trasimene, Lake Trasimene, all those battles and others. Yeah, every time Rome sent an army in the open field against Hannibal, with the exception of Zama, they got crushed. And at Zama, that was a very different affair than typical. It's not, you know, Scipio people give credit to, sure, but one has to understand Hannibal's army there in that situation wasn't exactly the best army he had to work with. It was also not a favorable battle by any stretch of imagination for him. And by that point, the Romans had more or less learned a lot from Hannibal. It's kind of a similar situation if you look at Napoleon as well. It's a similar situation to that in saying that the way Napoleon was defeated, historically speaking, they literally took his military strategies and used them against him. Inventing their own, sure, they adapted their own, adapted to their own use, invented their own strategies and all that. But the way they defeated Napoleon, more or less the same way the Romans defeated Hannibal, they used his own strategies against him. I think Scipio actually encircled a greater Carthaginian army with a smaller Roman army in the Iberian Peninsula. In the peninsula, when he was fighting there, more or less using Hannibal's tactics. A weak center, strong sides, luring the enemy to attack the center, then surrounding and destroying them. He had pulled the cannae. Historical fact. Anyway, damn, 7 minutes. Holy shit, that's quite a while. Yeah, it must... Okay, session set up. Let's actually get into that. Now, as for the commander I'm actually playing here, Germanicus. Germanicus might have been Emperor of Rome, but he did die at, what, 30 years old? And when he was 30 years old, 33, I believe it, the exact number. He died fairly young anyway, having accomplished a lot and having avenged the Battle of Teutoburg. You know, the destruction of 3 legions. I mean, when you think of the Battle of Teutoburg, the loss of those legions did not really change Rome's strategic situation. I mean, sure, Augustus screaming when he's an old man fighting the Illyrian rebelling, give me back, Varro, give me back my legions, might make it seem as if it was significant. Not really. The Romans went back in Germany after they were done with the Illyrian rebellion, and they crushed the Germans, including Arminius. Just the point there. The reason the Romans had Varro, an incompetent commander in Germany, or what is Germany nowadays, is because they had a massive war that they were fighting most of their military in Illyria, and so they left an incompetent commander while their real generals were fighting the real war against the real and dangerous enemy. And once they were done, they marched and smashed the Germans to pieces, and then decided, this land is not worth fighting, so let's just set our borders over here on the Rhine and give up, more or less. That's what Rome did. Because Rome did have, you know, Rome did have other things to deal with, internal issues, external issues. Hell, Rome had spent a century dealing with internal issues, civil war after civil war. So, Marius, Sulla, Crassus, Caesar, Pompey, Augustus, Anthony, they tore the Republic apart, and then the Empire was formed. And then, well, more series of civil wars and disasters. To be honest, though, historically speaking, what Marius did, although it was the proper and correct course of action, what Marius did, his reforms of the Roman military, as well as the failed reforms by the Gracchi brothers, who did try and reform, who did try and fix a lot of the problems Rome had, is what led to the collapse of the Republic, the instability of Rome. Like, Augustus did very well for a leader, it should be pointed out. Okay, so the way it's looking over here, and this can work, I might add. This is a concentration of force. It's actually a valid military strategy, I should point out. You take most of your units, you hit a particular point of the enemy. And what that leads to What that really leads to is that at that particular point of the battle, you will outnumber the enemy. And that is a very valid military strategy. Because it gives you concentration of force. It means you outnumber the enemy at the point of contact with the enemy. Now we have cavalry here, we have spearmen. Oh no, we have cavalry versus cavalry. I think what these are companions? Right.
We have drawn fast blood.
Now these guys are barbarian cavalry versus companion cavalry or here. No, I don't think they're companions, sir. But I think they're the predecessors to that. Now these spearmen need to go in there. We can go and hit their enemy base. That guy's strategy. While over here, and this is, oh god, no, this is gonna hurt these idiots. But that doesn't matter, we can win before they do. Well, I was kind of hoping the artillery would be able to prevail here, but they've kind of just lost their artillery by not giving a shit about protecting it. So the battle is gonna be decided who takes each other's base first. We could have delayed them with that artillery, that would have worked. Okay, no, that's still a viable option. Alright. We can't go through there. That's a choke point. That's just gonna get us killed. I can throw some Pilum. I have Pilum available. I just threw them. Alright, go. Just don't stop. Concentration of force. We vastly outnumber the enemy here. They do have a lot of units. Ah, damn it. You need to charge those guys. You need to send those spears. Like, that guy needs to send his spears quickly. But no. What the fuck is he doing? Like, that's the problem. People don't pay any attention whatsoever to the overall strategic situation. This guy's plan is a good plan. But it's a risky plan as well. Alright, I'm gonna send my units over there. Alright. Alright, so those cavalry units, okay, good. Take their camp. They haven't reached ours yet, so we can advance in their camp. I'm gonna force march over there. Come on, take the damn camp. We don't have time for this shit.
Focus your fire. The enemy base will soon be ours.
I'll pin these guys in place, but I need support, and I'm gonna probably get it. Yep, there it goes. Go, my precious. Right, cycle charge, come on. Good. This guy knows what the fuck he's doing. I've seen so many people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. Alright, these guys are routing. He can charge. Just charge and get out. Just charge, please. I mean, I should type this, I know, instead of just saying it out loud when he can't hear it, but that would be the correct strategy right there. Right, the camp. I don't know what's going on our side of the battlefield, though I don't even care at this point. Most of the enemy army is over there, so they also did the concentration force, and they also won because no one cared to protect the artillery. Hey, let's have this piece of equipment that can win us the battle, but let's not give a single shit about protecting it. I mean, I was kind of tempted to deploy there over on that side to protect the artillery, but I decided, yeah, probably more useful for me to deploy on this side.
Lead your blades! Swordsman! Repel them! Swordsman! Charge! Swordsman! Beat them back! need your blades! Beat them back! Swordsman! Kill! Run! Repel them! Swordsman! Double time! Run! The enemy general is slain! Swordsman! Swordsman! A pace! Right there! Our ally is suffering friendly fire! Beat them back! Kill! Quick march! I'm with you!
Now the enemy, what they're doing is a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. No strategic thinking whatsoever. They could have reached our base. They have chosen to withdraw and try and hold their base. Thing is, we have more units, and we have actually inflicted less damage than they have on us. But it's a concentration of force. No, I'm not gonna deploy there. I'm gonna take these guys out. Alright, let's parry. Right, they routed. I'm gonna get the hell out. It's cavalry against infantry, okay. We're gonna get it.
Leave no survivors! Attack! Destroy!
Turn, 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 turn. We can delay these guys. This is a close one. Wait, actually I won't. Let the others deal with the frontal assault. I'm in no position to be the frontal assault unit. Taken too much damage. Hit them in the side, hit them in the front as well. Don't stop. They should stop. They should totally stop. We're in such a good position. Go, 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 go. We can take them down. Come on, come on.
We have killed their general.
Yes. Mine is still up. Germanica still lives. Flank! Flank! Need a flank. Why aren't us do though? Alright, they're gonna be pulled. We do have a point advantage, even if it's a slight one. Most of the battle is taking place on our side of the battlefield, and I don't think all their units are here either. Alright, I could have done a lot better, I admit. But it wasn't exactly the greatest of battles. Are we winning? Well, we do have more military strength than they do, and we have more cohesion in our units than they do, so be the judge of that. I'm gonna try and keep my units to flank them. Right, let's go, 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 go. Yeah, the battle's over for you boys. They should stop. They need to stop. Someone needs to chase down those archers. Not gonna be me, I don't have the units. So yeah, that was an actual military tactic that generals have used throughout history. Concentrate your units to take on the enemy weak point, while the enemy's forces are dispersed. Works very well in this game, actually. I've seen it play out numerous times. I would say this: if you ever find yourself alone on a flank, be very fucking cautious. Go to a choke point, hold out there, try and avoid being flanked. I've seen so many people charging into and charging in when they were clearly outnumbered. Now in this case, their mistake was, sure, they destroyed the artillery. That's mainly the fault of the people manning the artillery and the people handling the infantry on that side. The artillery could have been a lot more useful in this battle with them. Need not have been this close. Right, that is a battle. Not gonna happen. That was actually the most interesting battle I've fought so far. Not the closest, but still.
We have claimed it.
Victory. Well, this is something a Hannibal would have done. What's really great about this game, as opposed to previous Total War games, what really makes it work is the terrain. The maps themselves are very well done. They have choke points, they have elevation, they have open areas, all that stuff. Whereas in other Total War games, it's just been open fields, open fields, open fields, right? And when you do have choke points, they're not really fun to deal with. Here you have choke points, but you also have generally areas close by where we can bypass those choke points and flank around. Alright, I need 12,000. Holy shit, in order to get past that. Alright, that was one battle. I'll just play another one.
For the glory of Rome.
Like, legitimately, I've played a lot of Total War. I've played online, obviously. The problem with Total War Online and other games, and this is an issue that the Plague Shogun 2, you know, people, oh, why did they ruin the multiplayer mode from Shogun 2? It wasn't good. It was actually pretty shit to begin with. The problem in other Total War titles is, first off, the balance is not designed for a multiplayer game. Let's be clear on that. Secondly, so the balance of units not designed for multiplayer at all, clearly, in any of those games. And it was ridiculous to Shogun 2, the traditional, what they did with the multiplayer, like traditional units, Imperial units, Rise of the Samurai units, Fall of the Samurai units. It's like, yeah, who do you think is gonna win, the line infantry guys with their artillery and Gatling guns, or the guys wearing spears and katana? I know who I'm putting my money on, and who did win. A lot of the time. So that's one issue. Issue number one. They really fucked the multiplayer with doing that. Issue number two is the lag. This is not, like, I've played a number of games, I think well over a dozen or so games in this. I have not experienced lag, like, at all. Like unit lag, FPS drop, or anything like that. Like, just the way the multiplayer is designed, the multiplayer mode is designed in a typical Total War game, is really bad. You get a lot of lag, you get the FPS drops, you get small armies because people are running on potato machines. Look, there is obviously a trade-off, which is horrible animation quality, the way units handle, hell, the pathfinding itself could use a lot of work in this game. But it does run better. Like, this is the most fun I've had in Total War in a battle in over a decade. Legitimately in over a decade. Well, I actually feel invested. Ooh, Thermopylae. Though, of course, in order to make these maps work, well, they make them, they don't care about the actual geography. Though maybe Thermopylae looks like this right now, but yeah, the hot gates. Not here. Here. Yes. I think. If you were talking about if this map has any is actually geographically accurate at all, I can tell you this: since Teutoburg is a battlefield here in this game, it's a map. I've been at the actual location of the Battle of Teutoburg, though mind you, it was not the battle at the single location. They actually moved from location to location, but I've been where they have an archaeological site. It looks nothing like in this game. I'm pretty sure it looks like nothing like it would have, based on historical accounts. So I think they took a lot of liberties with that one, didn't they? I mean, you do have the hot gates, but here you would have an impassable mountain. They just kind of, remove that. Either way. I think I'll deploy here. I'll support the artillery. I'll guard the artillery. I'll let others fight. I'll just deploy wherever it's necessary. We do have a lot of units here.
Capture the enemy base or kill all enemy
But
forces.
since we do have that artillery, our best course of action would be to deploy the artillery here. Have that. He does have a unit of infantry. Hopefully, he actually is not AFK. Thank you. I mean, he did select something, so to imagine he isn't. All right, there we go. He should deploy here. I would actually guard his ass. But, yeah, he's going for a purely defensive position. Should we attack? Should we defend? That's a good question. I'm seeing a lot of cavalry. So it seems to me he's going to deploy most of his units here. I could deploy in the camp. I'm not eager to get involved in the circus that's going to unfold here. Oh, I can already see this is not going to go very well for anyone. The army is to split apart. It would have worked if the guy controlling the artillery had decided to take some, risks.
We have drawn fast blood.
But that's fair enough, I suppose. It's actually very difficult to get here. So this guy is taking his cavalry. He's probably going to flank the enemy. I don't think we've actually engaged. I would stop in that pass and make my... You think dislodging those units from that pass would be nigh on impossible? Oh, to hell with it. Someone needs to defend the damn camp, because clearly no one will. I'll just deploy over here, and I'll be in a good position to support the units in the pass, assuming they're staying in the pass. There's a lot of maneuvering going on around here.
The enemy base will soon be ours.
Yeah. Yep, as expected. Flanking maneuver, we need to retreat. Right, pikemen, Theban pikemen. Principes. I'll withdraw in the camp. Now that's a good defensive position. Let the others fight. I see them. Oh, behind them. They should have thrown the Imperial and Pilum. So yeah, someone needs to actually defend the camp. You didn't see the army that's heading our way. If I were to be a betting man, I would say we're probably going to lose. gonna deploy. And we're gonna lose on a time level. Yeah, by all means, attack on your own, the enemy base. It's gonna work extremely well. I'm gonna fight the real battle. Like this, you know?
We're under attack! Focus your fire! Swordsman! Swordsman! Quickly!
Yeah, no shit. I know what I'm doing.
Swordsman!
Fuck! Idiot. Guy, yeah, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Though I think that was pretty clear from the get-go.
We're under attack! Swordsman! Apex! Swordsman! Orders! Shields in position!
Don't deploy your artillery so far back and so isolated. It's a really dumb idea. And you can see the price that's being paid with that stupid asinine deployment right there. And I don't say anything in chat because I'm tired of... Because arguing with puppies in chat is an idiotic decision in itself. Just accept you're gonna lose because morons are morons, and that's just how things go. Should I? Hell with it. Alright, they've routed that over there, but I know what these guys are doing. They're trying to flank the... They're trying to move in a flanking position. There's a battle ongoing. Do they need my help? That's the question. I think I'll deploy. I'll leave a weak unit, maybe. Nah, to hell with it. I'm going all in. We're gonna lose purely on the score level. I'm not kidding here. And this is the bad aspect of the game.
Ready? Aim! Fire! Slay them! Beat them back! Kill! Run! Attack! Let Bellona lead your blades! Swordsman! Repel them! Swordsman! Parry! Swordsman! Swordsman! Beat them back! Yours to command! Swordsman! Swordsman!
This is a problem because I'm isolated there.
Swordsman! Apex!
That unit's probably gonna end up destroyed there.
Parry! Swordsman!
That worked. But yeah, this is the previous battle in a reverse situation, more or less.
Run! Destroy! Focus your fire!
You can't just spread your army.
Swordsman!
Not like this.
Attack! Kill!
Or rather, you can't spread your army and then attack against the enemy base.
Ready?
Which is the portion of it. It's not gonna work.
Kill!
Clearly shown. They didn't really achieve anything except get all their units killed there. We got the singers, ran in the wrong direction, all that kind of stuff.
Beat them back! Attack!
Alright, no ranged units. GG. Lost cause, really. Yeah, I just couldn't resist there. Alright, they're going to attack us with all they have left. I mean, they've won. That's not the debate, by the way. On this map, as an artillery unit, you go to that fucking lookout. There are...
Under attack! Slay them! Apace! Attack!
Yep.
Repel them!
GG on that, by the way. Let's not use the strong defensive position.
Beat them back! Our base is under attack!
Fighting in the open against an enemy superior force. GG. People have no conception of what the defense actually means. To fight against, you know, a larger army. Choke points, strategic patrols, drawing the enemy in, trying to split the enemy up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Repel them!
Oh, let's try and ambush them in the woods. That's gotta work so brilliantly for you. Yeah, I'm not even pissed off. I've seen worse, believe me. I've seen a lot worse in this battle. At least here we fought, right? And as in we actually fought. And an isolated portion of the battlefield we even won. Even if we lost the entire battle. I'm not unhappy. I got some of the highest score here.
Cowards! The men are routing!
Actually, the highest score. No, that's not a good game. A good game is when people actually fucking try, not just waste their army on a stupid tactic. I mean, of course, the deployment doesn't necessarily help, but people are... Like, that's also an issue. People, like, think, oh, we have to engage the enemy. No, you don't! Stay the fuck back! Let them come to you. You've got a strong defense position if you have artillery. I've seen worse. I've seen worse in the sense, I was in a game, we had 2 artillery generals, 2 archer generals, barely any infantry. What did the dumbasses in my team do? They attacked. I'm not talking about the artillery or anything like that. The archers, they wasted themselves. The infantry attacked. So that artillery we had, which is a strong defensive advantage, was completely fucking wasted and we lost the battle. So, pro tip, don't fucking attack just because you think that's the brilliant idea. I understand single player Total War, which is completely horrible and absolutely garbage as a strategy game, to be clear, in terms of its battle. I understand Total War games have drilled it in people's head. You need to attack, but that's not how this fucking game works. You need to attack unless you're completely outnumbered. This is not how this game works in any way, shape, or form. Defensive can win. Drawing the enemy can win. Ambushing the enemy can win. Strategic movements to encircle the enemy can win. And all of this shit that I just said can be found in guides, tutorials, and all that. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's even in the tutorials of the game. At least some of this stuff is in the tutorials of this game. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I can't help just but feel frustrated, and this is my main issue with the game. I just feel so exceptionally frustrated by people playing like complete dumbasses, like their brains don't exist anymore. And I understand, this is the nature of public games. This is the nature of what, you know, what happens when you play with a bunch of randoms. Everyone does whatever the fuck they feel like. Some maps in this game lead to better team play than others. The maps do change the way people play them, and the way outcomes of battles are shaped. Like on the first map that I played in this video, that map leads to narrower focus battles because of the deployment. Thermopylae, which is ridiculous when you actually see the place that exists, but Thermopylae leads to a more open battle where people are spread about. And people think, oh, I start here. Yeah, you start in a position. Move the fuck to the other side of the battlefield. Concentration of force, strategic movements, encirclement. But this is the issue. Like, this is not, like, I'm not just ranting here because my team played like shit. That's just something that happens in multiplayer titles. No, the problem here in this game is that they thought it was a good idea to just give people a small portion of an army. It is exceptionally frustrating as a player to try their best and know that regardless of what they do in a game, regardless of how well or how badly they play, their contribution to the overall outcome of their battle is not determined by one player or even 3 players. You need at least half of the people on your team to know what the fuck they're doing, to work together. And getting that to happen in a random game is not gonna happen easily. Now granted, we lost this game because that dumbass with the artillery deployed where the hell he deployed. Isolated on a hill. Oh, it's a hill, it's a great position. Yeah, you can be flanked. I mean, I was a bit surprised they did go that far, but clearly they knew what the hell they were doing, the guys with the dogs. So that removed one of our main advantages. The second thing, the idiots on the right attacking the enemy base. 2 generals, what, 3 generals attacking the entire enemy base. When the enemy, and what happened? The enemy does what the enemy does. You attack the enemy base with a portion of your army when the enemy hasn't engaged your force. What is the enemy gonna do? They're gonna take everything they have to defend their base, which is what they did. They took most of their army and defended their base, and then came and finished us off while we were fighting the rest of the battle. That's where concentration force worked against us. But anyway, military tactics, basic military tactics, I might add. People should fucking learn them. Or maybe the developers of the game should make a mode for this game, which will certainly make it a lot more interesting, where you control more units, or there's fewer players controlling fewer players controlling more units each. I understand that would be a high level mode only, but I feel it would be less frustrating, far less frustrating, and far more interesting. I still don't understand why it double clicks like that, but whatever, right? Anyway, Costin here on Serious Gaming signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.